Welcome to Pega Monks. In this video we will see about how to use split for each join. I will walk you through that step by step of this exercise so that we can understand how this split for each works. So the concept here is one candidate has to be interviewed with multiple interviewers. So that is that logic we are trying to work it out, how it is going to work. So first we need to create a class which is of a data class of interviews. So this is the interview class which is created, so which will have all the properties for the person who is taking the interview for the candidate. For example, his average rating, what is the feedback he is to give, the interviewer name, the location, start time, and the technical skills. You can add still any more properties, whatever is needed for this thing. So this is that step number 1, and in this step number 2 we need to take this data class and then map it in that work class as an page list. So that is that second important concept. What we will do is we will move on to now work class, which is the candidate class. We are doing an interview for the candidates, so we moved on to candidate class. So here if you look at the data model, so this property is already created. So interviews, so if you open interviews, so this is an page list and it is referring to that interview, which is an class which we created in the data class. So basically this interview field is that key which will bridge between this candidate work class and the data class of the interviewer. So once these two steps is done, then we can proceed to that third step, which is like flow creation or else an section creation. So what we will do is first we will move on to quickly to interview and then see what is the section we created over there. So we are moving back to the data class again. So in the data class we will create an user interface and section, and in this we will have an whatever the sections we can have, we will create a section interview candidate. So this is the particular interview candidate section which we will be displaying to that person who is taking the interview of the candidate. And if you look at all these fields, it is nothing but whatever the properties used in this data model. So we can use any properties and we can drag and drop directly to the section. So if you look at it, unqualified, this is an interview rating, and interpersonal skills, you will be having it over here. The main reason of creating this section in data class is mainly for reusable. If you create this in a work class of the candidate, only that particular class can be reused. So this is pretty straightforward. So we completed 3 steps now. First we created an data class interview, then we added all the properties, then we added whatever that section needed for to display the particular interviewer that screen, then we mapped both the things in that work class of the candidate. I'll move back to work class now. That's all. So this is the key 3 main steps we did so far. So section is created, property is created, property is mapped into the section. So now we will look into the flows. So this is the particular flow we are going to modify, which I already did it. So basically what we need to do is, this is the particular interview screen, and in this we need to drag and drop the particular control, which is that split for each shape. And in this is the key step. So if you look at this interviews, the interviews is nothing but the work class page list property. If you look at over here, this is that very important concept to be seen here. So if you look at it, this particular interviews is listed over here, and as you know, this belongs to a data class now. So what happened is that interviewer is mapped from data to work, and it is using this page list property. Now we are creating one flow name, and if you open this flow name, this will be in the data class. So we are having a flow name which is called conduct interview, and look at the class. This is very important because this is that flow which is going to be called for each and every person who is taking the candidate interview. For example, there are 3 person is assigned, one candidate is assigned and 3 interviewers. So this flow will got 3 times. So how it is, I'll repeat it again. How it is going to work is, so first the flow will come over here. Flow will come over to the assignment, and it will look for whatever that interview schedule to perform, and from that interview schedule it will move on to that conduct interview screen. In this, since we did the mapping in a page list, it will loop through all the interviewers, and for each interviewer it will start calling this conduct interview flow name, and which is present in that data class. And if you open the data class flow action, you will be having obviously a section which will have the properties. So this is the flow action. So interview candidate is the flow action, and inside interview candidate we will be having a section. Everything will be in data class now. See, open this in the interview candidate. See, we are back to the same position where we started. So how it is creating a link? First it moves from the data class. Go back to the flow again. So the flow is in the work class. This whole portion will get executed in the data class, and the control will once again transfer to the work class. So this is how a split for each works. And one more important concept to be observed over here is why we need to have an extra flow in a data class. That main reason is for reusability. And one more subtle concept is, so now you look at this particular flow. For each interview it can be like 3 or 4 interviews will be happening. So how will you decide that routing logic? First, that candidate will be assessed by a manager, then he will be assessed by an VP. How will you make this dynamic setting? For this only, this routing also helps over here in this data class. Now if you open this assignment, so it is routing to dot interviewer. So what is interviewer? It is nothing but a single property inside this interview class what we created it. So each time the flow runs, it will go to this particular interviewer. So and then it will get assigned, and the particular interviewer log in, and then he can work on the assignment. So basically what we done is, for each candidate now we have created an individual interviewer. Let me show this in action now. So I already created one case now, C18, and which is already in an interview step. Let me move on here, and I'm going to schedule interview. So can you see it added one? This is nothing but this particular screen. This is that particular screen. It is standing in this screen now. So schedule interviewer. This is the screen you are seeing now. Schedule interview is the screen you are seeing now. So which is going to add whatever the possible interviewers. I'm routing it to HR manager. I've added again, and I'm going to choose one more interviewer for this candidate, director at TGB. Now I'm submitting the flow. So now we will look for 2 assignments to get created. So what happened here is, now so this particular flow got moved from here, and it is taken into the split for each join. For how many entries we added as an interviewer, it created each and every person, it looped everything, and it called the flow 2 times now, and for each and every person it displays this particular screen now. This particular screen got displayed now. This particular screen was taken from the interview candidate, and it creates the case. Now if you look into this actions, you can see one is created for director assignment and one is created for HR manager. So this is how the split for each works. Thanks for watching the video. We will meet soon in some other video. Thanks.